Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on because the Sports Hounds are live right now.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like oh, this thing he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. We are the Sports Hounds exclusively on A2DRadio.com. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby produces this fine radio program. We got a lot to talk about. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Instagram. You miss anything here on A2D Radio? I know the boys on Monday Morning Quarterback, they're just wrapping up. You missed that show? Don't worry about it. You download us wherever you get your favorite podcast, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio. It's takeover time, 2022, year of A2D Radio. I also host the Rant Booth on Sunday. Every Sunday at 11:30, we'll be back at it right before that Washington game, which is going to be a big game for the Eagles. We're also going down to Dallas, which is going to be a big game, whether it's seeding for the Cowboys, whether it's the Eagles getting in. Maybe the Eagles can win and be the 6th seed. Maybe the Niners stutter a little bit. Maybe Green Bay stutters and Dallas has something to play for. Anyway, we'll be down there, Jetro lot. Keep up with our social media for details. It's going to be the biggest tailgate party of 2022 thus far. Eagles, Cowboys, lots going to be on the line. I can feel it in my bones. Eagles got it done yesterday. We're going to get to that a little later. We got the NFL covered. We'll get into some Philly, New York stuff a little later. But we got a big one on Monday night. Dolphins, Saints, little live analysis. Our poll question tonight brought to you by our doc, Macon Marsh, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, 2 convenient locations, Burlington and Cherry Hill. Sports Hounds also brought to you each and every week by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for 25% off your order. Brad, the Miami Dolphins, the once 1-7 Miami Dolphins, are going to rally Brian Flores, Tua Tagovailoa, going to rally and get a ticket to the tournament, get themselves in the dance. Will the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs? I'm 1,000% agree. This football team is well coached. This football team is talented. I'm not sure why they were 1-7. I know Tua was hurt and the whole thing, but they've rebounded nicely. They're playing great football. Jaylen Waddle's a stud. Tua looks like a stud. They got a good defense. They got good special teams. They got good coaching. They're getting a gimme here on Monday Night Football. Ian Book starting. Now, I'm a big follower of Notre Dame football. That's where Ian Book played. He's not tall enough to be an NFL quarterback. He doesn't have the arm strength to be an NFL quarterback. He doesn't have elite athleticism to be an NFL quarterback. So this is all coming up Miami. And I know the Saints are at home. Wouldn't surprise me at all one bit if Sean Payton abandons Ian Book and just lets Alvin Kamara do some wild card stuff the entire game. That actually might be their best chance to win. But I 1,000% have the Miami Dolphins running the table 3-0, beating the Saints tonight, beating the Titans next week, and then beating New England, possibly with a playoff spot on the line down in South Florida in Week 18. I love the way they're playing. And you look at some teams like Baltimore who are not playing well. They get smoked again.
Baltimore's got a pretty good excuse, though. I mean, they're missing their whole team at this point.
Yeah, but they get smoked again. They get smoked again by Cincinnati.
But I'm just saying they don't have their players. I mean, they really
that's
don't have
great.
a chance.
But the NFL goes on.
Oh, I know. No, I'm just
NFL
saying
keeps hitting.
they at this point. I mean, they're going to be with their third string quarterback. I don't see how Baltimore can keep up at this point.
And they're playing the Rams next week.
Yeah, they're
playing really good football.
Yeah, they're going to get killed. The Rams. There are 4 elite teams in the NFC this year, right now, and to me, it's really anybody's NFC this year. The Packers, Tampa Bay, Dallas, and the Rams. And really, at this point, I've watched after watching them all play, especially the Packers with Aaron Rodgers' broken toe, and it seems like he's got very little mobility at this point. Anybody can win this conference out of those 4 teams. But at this point, those 4 teams right now are so much ahead of the rest of the league. It's going to be kind of an embarrassing wild card.
Right, what do you think of the AFC? Poll question.
The AFC, as far as Miami, I don't see Miami winning all 3 games. I mean, 10 in a row. That's asking an awful lot. I mean, they're good, but again, 10 in a row is pretty tough to do. I'd have to see that to believe it. So we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith in them doing that. I don't think that they can win a big game at the end of December against New England, even if it's at home. As a matter of fact, I think being at home might even be more difficult for them because, sometimes young teams playing at home with all the pressure on them, that could be just a little bit too much to ask. I don't think they're going to be able to win a game like that. They're not going to have an easy time with Tennessee either. That's a big game for Tennessee. They have to stay in the playoffs. They get a gift tonight with New Orleans because obviously with COVID affecting Taysom Hill and Simeon, Ian Book, who's like what is he, 6 feet tall?
If that.
Yeah.
How sports information directors and people with the team, they embellish. Like Allen Iverson wasn't 6 foot, but he got announced every night as a 6 foot guard.
How is he going to see down the field? I mean, he's going to have the same problem Jake Fromm had yesterday for the Giants. What's he going to do? Have to bootleg every play? And is he that mobile that he's going to be able to bootleg every play? I mean, I don't seem to remember him being. I mean, he could move a little bit, but I don't remember him being all that much of a threat as far as doing bootlegs. But that's the only way he's going to be able to see down the field in this kind of game.
And you got Tua. They got an NFL countdown or Monday night countdown right there. Entering today, Tua, he's at 69.9% completion percentage. That's the highest in the NFL. I know his sample size is a little diluted because he had some injuries, but he's completing the football.
He's playing
at a 70% clip.
Yeah, he's playing at a very high level. I mean, one thing he's proven is that he definitely can be a franchise quarterback. No question about it. I mean, after as bad as he was his rookie year, he's been getting better and better every week, which is a real good sign if you're a Dolphin fan. We'll see. But again, it's a little different when you're actually playing for something.
No doubt. And that's where I go back to Saban
pressure now,
SEC.
Yeah, but the college is not the same as pro. It's a lot different.
Yeah, that's when I look at Tua, and I'm eating a lot of crow on Tua because he's a guy that I didn't see as a franchise quarterback. I thought it was a huge risk for the Dolphins to take him in the top 10. I think he went number 3 overall with his injury history and him being undersized. And I'm eating a lot of crow on Tua because now Tua being this good and showing me that he's a franchise quarterback. And I don't think there's any debate about it, Brad. Tua Tagovailoa is a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, Tua can move around. I mean, he's not tall, but he's very, very mobile, and he can find the seams and be able to throw the ball down the field, and that's very important. And he's always been incredibly accurate. So
and his arm strength has really been. Now, maybe that's developed since he got picked, but, I didn't see him having this strong of an arm being
when he went to his
size
left,
that he is.
When he went to his left, he could throw pretty. He was always pretty good. It was going to his right. He didn't have the cannon. But, I guess you can teach arm strength to some point because he's definitely improved in that area as well. And Miami, make no mistake, it would be great to see. It would be a great story for the NFL for a 1-7 team to come back and make the playoffs. It would be a great example for every team in the NFL to understand that the season isn't over after 8 games, regardless of what your record is.
Yeah, and especially when the NFL just wants to dilute their playoffs and just add teams and add games, like you're never really out of it. I know a slew of teams got eliminated yesterday.
Yeah, but that's week 15.
It's week 15, and like teams just got mathematically eliminated. And
Right.
the Washington football team, who got smoked 56-14 last night for their 9th loss of the season, they're not even mathematically eliminated.
No.
So like
no.
you're in this thing the whole time. And you know, and it's interesting how like they beat New England in week 1 in Foxborough. Then you lose 7 straight, and now you're on this incredible run.
And one of their losses was in England against the Dolphins, by the way. Rather, against the Jaguars.
And yes, it was.
Which is just – it's mind-boggling to think that you can lose to the Jaguars and still be able to come out. Oh, Cincinnati, the same thing. Didn't they lose? Who did they lose? Cincinnati lost to the Jets.
Correct.
So it happens. It's hard to win 10 games in a row, though. I can't agree to the poll.
I look at this week like this is a gimme tonight. This is the 3-footer for bogey, and you're just picking it up. You're finding the cart girl, and you're moving on with your boys. Moving to the next thing. I don't see how Ian Book can go in there and win an NFL game. Because he was the quarterback. Last time Notre Dame made the playoff, Brad. Last time Notre Dame made the playoff, Ian Book was the quarterback, and they played a team in Clemson that was basically a semi-professional team, and Ian Book had no shot. Yeah,
Clemson was just superior to that team in every way. Look, Ian Book, the only way he can really be effective is if he can get out of the pocket. I mean, Rob, we're seeing it now with these short quarterbacks. It's very rare that they work. I know Drew Brees was short, and he was ultra successful. But you know, how many guys are like Drew Brees though? There's not that many guys like that. Look at Baker Mayfield. Look at how much trouble he's now having. You know, when you're short like that, most guys who are short don't necessarily have the strongest arms. And if he has to start throwing on his back foot, doing crazy things like that, I don't see it. The Dolphins defense has been real good. I think you're right. This is a layup for Miami. They should win this game fairly easily. You know, as long as they don't start turning the ball over and just playing stupid football like the Chargers did yesterday, I don't see it. You know, I mean, the Saints are going to have to get a pick 6. They're going to have to get a big punt return. You know, crazy things like that are going to happen for them to be competitive in this game.
And we got some comments flying in. Our comments are brought to you by All Campus between 10th and 11th Street on the boardwalk. They sponsor the ramp booth. They're sponsoring the biggest tailgate party of 2022. Eagles, Dallas, Jetro Lot. Keep it locked here for A2D Radio for details. It's going to mean a lot, folks. We're going to get in the NFC a little later. We're talking a little AFC right now, getting you ready for Monday Night Football. We might get into some hockey, some basketball. You know, we'll see where the night takes us, but it's all football right now. You also become an A2D member for $9.99. You get amazing perks, including shout-outs, members-only shows, appearances, and weekly picks from the Money Pop Podcast. Also, Willie Vegas. He throws out some smoke as well. Hit the link in the comments and sign up. You won't regret it. Guarantee it. Brinkman Lock. Sign up for A2D membership. Brian Wilson, speaking of Willie Vegas, he's in the chat. Greg Milakovic, he's in the chat. He disagrees with the poll. So, Greg, he's kind of on your line of thinking is it's hard to win 10 games in a row, which I can't really argue with. It is, but when I look at the landscape of the AFC,
Rob, you'd have to think that they'd have a clunker at some point. You know,
they had 7 of them. They were just all in a row.
I know that, but I'm just saying 10 in a row though is a lot. I mean that's a lot. Teams don't usually win 10 in a row. That's asking an awful lot from anybody, even a team like the Packers. You know, that's just asking a lot to win that many in a row.
I hear you, but when I look at the AFC, you got 11 mathematically viable teams for 6 spots, because the Chiefs, they're clinched up. They clinched they railroaded the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday.
They annihilated them, and that was without Kelsey, no less.
Yeah, I mean, good thing. I mean, what would the score have been if Kelsey was in? I mean, good God, that was an absolute pummel.
They would have put up 50 if
So
Kelsey.
I am going to, even though they're not mathematically eliminated, I am going to Brinkman eliminate the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos needed to win yesterday against Vegas. They didn't. So Vegas stays alive, and Denver's out. Cleveland, I don't think they're – and I was a big Baker guy coming. I think me and Tom Arnone were co-driving that bandwagon bust, the Baker Mayfield bandwagon bust. But that guy, he just doesn't have it. They need to get themselves a quarterback in Cleveland because I do think they have a very talented roster outside of the quarterback position. And
they've also had an unbelievable amount of bad luck, though. No, don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, it's at some point you got to make your own luck, and you got to step up and make.
No, I mean the last couple of games, though. I mean, just it's unbelievable what bad luck they've had the last couple of games.
I mean, on Christmas Day, I mean, I don't know what Stefanski's doing. I mean, you got Nick Chubb getting 8-9 yards a clip.
Yeah, why were they not running the ball in that 2-minute drill?
He's got like 14 carries at the end of the game. I mean, like, what are we doing? You got a quarterback with a torn labrum who I don't think's that good, and you're just coaching your playoff chances away. Nick Chubb is a special runner.
I thought that his play calling in that 2-minute drill was ridiculous. They were able to start from the 20-yard line, the 25-yard line. I can't remember where it was, but wherever they started, they got up to about midfield by running the ball, and then all of a sudden he decides he's going to throw. I believe they had 2 of their 3 timeouts left.
Yeah.
Or did they have all 3 of them? I think they may have
had all 3. They had at least 2.
All 3 of them. Why aren't you just running the ball? I mean, they could have run the ball. The Green Bay couldn't stop them from running the ball all day. The only time they could stop them was when Cleveland self-destructed and put themselves in situations where they were like 3rd and 20 or something along those lines. And it just seemed like Mayfield was getting it done every time. Every time. It was he had some kind of I'll tell you what, it was some kind of bad luck with him. He throws 4 interceptions, made some great passes, but he threw 4 interceptions. Some of them were just clueless interceptions. I mean, we saw the good and the ugly with Baker Mayfield on the.
It's just too much ugly. There's just not enough consistency with the guy. So we're going to Brinkman eliminate the Browns.
I think you could eliminate the Ravens as well.
Denver. I can't eliminate the Ravens because they could get Lamar back on Sunday and beat the Rams. That's not what I'm predicting, but they do play the games for a reason. But
I agree, but they're not going to be.
They're in the 7th seed right now. The Ravens. No, I don't think they're that good. I think Miami's a better football team, and I think the Chargers are a better football.
The Ravens just gave up 500 yards passing to the Bengals. Now I know the Bengals have really played well, and offensively, they're on one heck of a roll. But 511 yards passing,
it's bad.
Come on,
it's bad. They're just not.
That's pitiful. I mean, you can't give up that. How do you give up that many yards passing? I mean, they're not easy to run against, but I mean, any team that can put the ball in the air, and especially the Rams with the weapons they have,
it could be trouble.
Yeah, they're going to score. The Rams are going to score a ton of points. I just don't see how they're going to be able to stop them. I mean, you've got Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham is starting to get into their offense more and has become more of a part of that offense. How are they going to stop them?
I don't know. But Miami wins tonight. They're the 7th seed. Baltimore moves down to 8. And I think Mac Jones was 1,000% exposed yesterday in New England. Are they going to make them? I don't know. I think if you were just looking at the 7 best teams to get in the playoffs, I think that if you rank the teams
in the AFC, you're talking about
in the AFC based on how likely they were to make the Super Bowl, I don't think the Ravens should be in that top 7 or the Patriots should be in that top 7.
No,
Patriots
I'll tell you who should be in the top 2 right now. Actually, the top 3 right now is Kansas City, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Cincinnati Bengals in that order.
See, I like Buffalo as well.
Buffalo's got to prove it in the playoffs, though. That's the thing. They haven't been able to do that. And listen, I love Buffalo.
They went to the AFC title game last year, Brad.
Yeah, no, I know they did. And they played really horribly in that game, which was unexplainable, but they played horribly.
Yeah, I mean, they made mistakes. They're in Arrowhead, and they got they were just over before it started. But
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen, welcome to the MVP race. I know it's kind of really Aaron Rodgers to lose
He played one of the most spectacular. I've watched a lot of Josh Allen, and I got to tell you, yesterday, that was probably one of the most spectacular performances that you will ever see out of a quarterback. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. When they had to, there was one play where it was fourth down, and I believe it was 4th and 2, and he had just tried a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1, and he lost a yard. So he goes and he fakes the handoff up the middle, takes 2 steps to the right, and does a head fake, and then goes to the left. Has 2 guys, and somehow he's able to squeeze between both of them and get the first down and get about 4 or 5 yards out of it. I mean, the guy is unbelievable, and he only runs when he has to. He doesn't go back to pass looking to run like a lot of these running quarterbacks do. But once he gets rolling, I mean, he's unbelievable. He's such huge. A great athlete.
He's a battering ram.
And that arm, I'll tell you what,
that touchdown throw to Stephon Diggs was like a slant cross, whatever it was, through a window that was, moderately. The throw was there for sure. But,
yeah, he threw the back shoulder pass. That was a great pass.
No, I'm talking about the one he ran like a skinny post.
Oh, no, that was McKenzie. That was McKenzie with the back shoulder.
I want the one. I'm talking about the one with Diggs.
Diggs did the down and out, right? You're talking about that throw?
No, he just did it. The slant for the touchdown. It was long.
Oh, okay. That was the one when it was that was the second touchdown. Okay, yeah, that was in the first half.
We got more comments. Jake Friel entering the football fray here on Monday night. Sports Hounds. What's up, fellas? Sorry to hear that you have to deal with Jones and Judge for another year, Brad. You hate to see it. That came out yesterday.
Really. I mean, listen. First of all, you don't know any of this stuff is true. How do you know that? You don't even know who the general manager is going to be. And you're gonna go out looking for a general manager, and you're gonna tell a general manager you have to play Judge and you have to keep Judge and you have to play Jones. I mean, look, it makes sense for them to keep Jones. I would keep Jones just for the simple fact that I think the Giants at this point need to start drafting guys for the trenches on both sides of the line and leave the quarterback alone. Build yourself a decent offensive line and then go in and bring in a quarterback, whoever that may be. I think in the offseason you'll see them try to pick up a guy. And I'll tell you what, looking at some of the guys that might be available, a guy like Nick Foles. I mean, the game he played yesterday against Seattle in the fourth quarter, that last touchdown drive, what a terrific drive that was.
Foles in the snow.
And Foles in the snow, and then the 2-point conversion to win the game. And he made two great passes for the touchdown, and then the pass for the 2-point conversion. They were works of art. I'll tell you, if the Bears would have played him more this year, I think they would have.
I just think look. You have Fields. You gave up a bunch for Fields.
Yeah, but these guys. You gotta make these guys earn their opportunity. I mean, to just throw them in there just because you drafted them high, to me, is a bad reason. It doesn't make sense to me to do stuff like that. You're drafting them, and yes, they're going to be your future, but you gotta make them earn it. You can't just throw them in there because they're high draft picks. I mean, look what happened with Miami last year. Fitzpatrick kept coming in for Tua and bailing out Tua every time he played bad.
It's true.
And now look at what Tua's doing this year. You gotta make young players earn their chance to play.
Yeah, but I think that
to just hand it to them and not have a backup quarterback who can give him a run for his money. And don't think that hasn't helped Jalen Hurts, knowing that there's a backup quarterback in Philadelphia who could take his position in 2 minutes if they needed to. Don't think that doesn't drive Jalen Hurts to be a better quarterback.
So apparently, Brad, after the Jets game, where Gardner Minshew played pretty well in Jalen Hurts' absence, he went into Nick Sirianni's office and he was like, all right, like I feel like I played pretty good. What do I have to do to be the starter? And Nick Sirianni shot him down rather quickly. According to reports, like you said, we don't know what's true and what's not, said, listen, man, Jalen's the starter. You're never going to be the starter unless Jalen's hurt. What do you have a opinion on that?
Well, I mean, that's his guy. So, I mean, right now he's going to roll with Jalen Hurts.
Look, I love it on all aspects.
I mean,
all aspects of that situation.
First of all, I don't think Minshew was any good. And to go in railing about yourself just because you played well against the Jets probably have the worst defense in the NFL. So to make a big deal out of destroying the Jets is not a very good self-promotion.
Well, look, the guy wants to start and he wants to play. Which I love.
Him.
I love, by the way.
I don't
want a guy on my team that's complacent and going to be happy with being the backup. I want a guy that wants to play.
But
so I love it from Gardner Minshew's aspect.
If you think Hurts wouldn't have crushed the Jets also, you're crazy. He would have crushed the Jets too. The Jets have no defense. They gave up 23 points to Jacksonville. Has Jacksonville even scored that many points against anybody this year?
No, they're so bad, Brad.
Yeah,
the Jaguars.
That's what I'm saying. They're awful.
But I love that situation on all counts. I love that Gardner Minshew wants to be the starter. I love a guy who's ambitious and wants to be in there. I love that Nick Sirianni.
He'll probably be out of there next in the offseason. He probably won't stick around because he's not going to.
Why? I have a backup quarterback who I know can play in this league for $850,000.
Yeah, but
why would you not let him play out his contract?
Yeah, but he's not going to want to play. He's not going to want to play for the Eagles. That's the whole point.
Who? Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew. I mean, I like him. He's spunky and he's a character, but it
depends what Nick Sirianni said to him. But if he said to him he's never going to play unless Jalen Hurts is injured, I wouldn't. If I were him and I had my eyes set on being a starter, I think there are teams in the league he could start for.
I 100% agree with that statement. But Howie brought him in here because he's a cat nerd, right? So he's under contract for $850,000 this year. $850,000 next year. The Jaguars moved on because they drafted.
But he doesn't have to report. But Rob, you know how it is in football.
Minshew is not going to hold out. Are you nuts?
He might want. Listen, if he honestly thinks that he's a starting quarterback, I don't know what he's going to do.
Minshew does not have a leg to stand on to hold out. Brad, are you okay?
I don't know. I'm just saying, would he want to do something like that? If he thinks he's a starting quarterback, that's what he should do.
He's going to hit free agency. Let's say Jalen Hurts, he's playing good right now, good-ish. And I'm already on record as saying he should be the quarterback next year. So Jalen Hurts is a starter next year in Philadelphia. But, Jalen twists an ankle or Jalen hurts his shoulder, and Minshew has to go in there for a couple of games and plays well again. That's a better case scenario for him going out and hitting the open market. The open market, Brad, being a free agent, then someone might sign him. Brock Osweiler got $85 million in this league.
But if he's going into his walk year, he's going to want to play. If he doesn't play at all, how's that going to help him?
Brad, he's not good enough to demand playing time.
I'm just saying you just don't know what's going through his head.
Look, how he can flip him. You traded a 6th for him, right? So if you can trade him for a 5th or, God forbid, a 4th to some team that's desperate for a quarterback, obviously I'm going to do that. But, look at it. I mean, Houston's probably going to move on from Deshaun Watson at some point, but they have Davis Mills, who looks like, he deserves maybe a full season of being the starter, an offseason and a season. We'll see what happens with Russell Wilson in Seattle. Could that be a fit there for trade with Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew is not going to hold out. Come on.
Regarding Russell Wilson.
Plus you need – hold on, before we move on to Russell Wilson. Plus you need 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, you do.
You don't know what's going to happen, and you got to have your ass covered.
Russell Wilson has not played well since he came back. Now, I don't know if his finger is still bothering him and he's not 100%. Maybe that's it. To me, he hasn't played well. I mean, I watched a lot of that Bear game yesterday because obviously I have an interest in that game because the Giants have the Bears' first-round pick, and I got to watch a lot of that game. And I thought Russell Wilson was terrible yesterday. And I don't know if it's his finger or throwing in the snow or what have you, but he made a lot of really bad throws yesterday. He did not look impressive at all. And I mean, he had guys open all day yesterday.
Yeah, you look at it and they're officially eliminated now, but they've been eliminated for a while. They're just not a very good football team. You have a team that has no draft capital. His he might have 1 foot out the door, you know?
I understand that, but if you're wanting to pick up Russell Wilson, I wouldn't be giving away the store for him. I don't think he looked all that great.
Brad,
He hasn't looked all that good this year.
Nothing Russell Wilson can do in these final 2 games. And we might get an alert on our phones during this show that Seattle's shutting down Russell Wilson. I don't know who their backup is, if he's a young guy or guys they want to look at.
Well, whoever it was, they didn't win a game without.
But if you're a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl or being in Super Bowl contention, you're not letting a performance in the snow, a performance from a bad football team where he, outside of his receivers who are pretty good, the Seattle Seahawks absolutely stink. Offensive, defensively, running game, offensive line, the whole thing.
Their offensive line is bad too. Seattle. I mean, I watched it. Yesterday was really the first time I've actually watched them play. They look terrible. They looked bad.
I think Denver is the dream scenario for either Aaron Rodgers if he wants out of Green Bay still, or Russell Wilson if he wants. I think that's a dream scenario. I think the Denver Broncos are a franchise elite quarterback. Maybe there too. That's a good one. That's a good one as well. So put those 3 teams I don't think the Seattle Seahawks would trade Russell Wilson in the division. So
no, but you know what? I could see them going out and getting Deshaun Watson, San Francisco.
Well, Jimmy G blows.
But he's not a championship quarterback, Rob.
He's just not. I mean, I thought he was maybe a capable game that we talked about on this show. Compare him to Alex Smith. Alex Smith was a way better player than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Alex Smith didn't give games away the way Jimmy Garoppolo does.
He gave that Titans game away.
Oh, I know he did. That's what I'm trying to say. Alex Smith was not the greatest quarterback in the world, okay? But he didn't give games away. He didn't beat himself. If he wasn't able to win a game for you, it was because he couldn't make the throws. But he didn't just make dumb throws that would get intercepted or put himself in a position where he was going to get sacked or just not be a smart football player. So Jimmy Garoppolo just doesn't seem to be smart as a quarterback.
If the Niners, the Broncos, or who else did we say?
Definitely the Niners and Broncos.
You're looking at Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, and you're influenced by the game.
The Vikings too. I don't know. They get rid of Cousins so fast with the money that they owe him, but he's been there a while. How many years do you think he has left? Cousins.
I don't know. It's always something with that guy.
Yeah, there's a guy that's got all the ability in the world. Great arm, can move, has great receivers, and it just never seems to go together with him.
David Andrew with a question: should the Eagles sign Todd Gurley to the practice squad? Listen, thanks for checking out the show on Facebook. I've never seen you comment before, so we certainly appreciate your support on Facebook, David Andrew. But, I mean, Todd Gurley is not a viable option for this football team right now, or any football team right now. I know everyone's kind of freaked out because Miles Sanders has a broken bone in his hand, but he's not being placed on IR, so he can come back. He's not even going to be out 3 weeks. It's going to be a week-to-week thing. And, look, Miles Sanders being out for the rest of the year, if he does go on IR, that's not a devastating injury for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jordan Howard can carry the load. Boston Scott scored yet another touchdown against the New York Giants yesterday. You know, you have Kenneth Gainwell. Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback. Like, if the Eagles lost Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, another offensive lineman, that would be a cause for panic. You don't have to panic and bring in a guy like Todd Gurley. The Eagles are going to be fine at the running back position. And Miles Sanders, I expect him to maybe miss a game, maybe two. If the Eagles, when officially the Eagles do clinch a playoff spot, which I think is inevitable at this point, I think Miles Sanders will be right in there.
I will say this. If they don't win against the Redskins next week, they're not going to make the playoffs. Because I don't think there's any way in the world they're going to beat Dallas. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are a far superior team to the Eagles right now. You look at the Cowboys, and I mean, they're just playing on a different level. As I said at the beginning of the program, those top four teams right now in the NFC are on a completely different level from everybody else in the NFC right now.
Well, I don't know. Like, obviously, I want them to beat Washington, and that's going to make. But the Saints are going to lose tonight. I'm already counting the Dolphins as a win. You know, I'm not buying into Ian Book.
If the Saints will probably lose tonight. Who else is there to challenge them though? Because they all
the Eagles? Because the Vikings lost yesterday, and they're playing Green Bay next week.
Well, the Vikings. I mean, the Eagles have the last place schedule, so it's kind of. And
then you have the Niners comes out today. The Niners, Jimmy G, who we just ripped for stinking, but he's their QB1. He's got a fracture and a torn ligament in his thumb. So we don't know what his status is going to be.
But they're playing the Texans next week. They're not going to lose that.
Brad, if you have bad quarterback play in this league and you have a quarterback that's going to give it away,
they're not going to lose at home to the Texans.
I didn't think the Chargers were going to lose to the Texans yesterday too. So, this is why they play the game. So
yeah, but it's at home. But the Texans are playing on the road. They played at home, and I guess that was their suit. I can't. There are a couple of games this season that I have no explanation for. Okay, the Cardinals against the Lions and that Charger game against the Texans. Those are two games I just have no explanation for, and just can't even stop to imagine what the heck's going on. They're really, Rob, there is no explanation for those two games. Listen, I know they can happen, but realistically, the 49ers are going to beat the Texans. It's going to come down to, I think, their last game of the season. And listen, they have a tough game at the end of the season as well. I believe they played the Rams the last game of the season. Am I wrong? I mean, I did my homework, and I think if I remember correctly,
well, the Cardinals. I don't have it in front of me, but I know the Cardinals have played the Rams twice.
Yeah,
I don't know about. So that's not a week. That's not a week.
I believe the 49ers play the Rams the last game.
I think you're right.
Yeah, the 49ers are at the Rams. So, I mean, the Eagles, actually, they could lose the last game of the season and still be okay.
I think they're going to have – Brad, I think the Eagles are going to have a playoff spot clinched before Dallas.
They might. Yeah, they might. I mean, they might. See, there's really nobody else. Minnesota has to play Green Bay, and there's no way Minnesota's going to beat Green Bay. New Orleans, with their quarterback situation, isn't going to win tonight, so they can't challenge them. The 49ers will most likely – what are they right now, 8-7?
Correct.
So they're 8-7, and Philly's 8-7, which means if New Orleans loses,
that's the 2.
6. Yeah, but they could be number 6 now. The Eagles.
They could. I mean, that loss to San Francisco in week 2 is going to probably get in the way of that.
No, because you know what? I think that if the 49ers finish in 3rd place and the Eagles finish in 2nd place, I believe that's going to be the first tiebreaker, is it not?
No, head-to-head is first tiebreaker.
So if the Eagles finish 2nd and the 49ers finish 3rd.
That doesn't matter.
All right. Well, if it's head-to-head, if it's head-to-head, the 49ers have to the Eagles have to have a better record than
the 49ers. Believe it or not, Brad, now the Cardinals, I mean, I keep standing by the Cardinals saying they're a good football team, they're going to figure it out, but they might not. If the Cardinals lose out and the Eagles win out or the Niners win out, they could be into the 5 seed.
Who, the Cardinals?
5 seed is
the Eagles, yeah. The Cardinals are probably going to lose next week.
To Dallas?
They're going to lose to Dallas. The way the Cardinals have been playing lately and the way the Cowboys have been playing.
Is that in Dallas?
I don't think it really matters. The way the Cowboys have been playing right now and the way the Cardinals have been playing, I'd be shocked if the Cardinals were able to beat them right now. They're just not playing well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because they missed DeAndre Hopkins.
I hate Dallas so much.
Yeah, I do too. But I mean, listen, you have to give credit where credit is due.
I don't want to anymore. I've been giving them credit all season. I picked them to win the East by 4 or 5 games, which, I don't know. I don't have what 8-7, and what Dallas has 4 losses. Or Dallas has 4 losses. So they're up 3 games. I said they were going to have no problem winning the division. That's about as much praise as I can give the Dallas fucking Cowboys. All right.
Oh, I hate their guts. I can't stand them either. But I'm just being realistic here. Let me just check the.
I can't wait till they're out of the playoffs. I can't wait till they're out of the playoffs.
Second round, they'll be out. Arizona Cardinals. Let's see. Arizona Cardinals schedule.
Well, yeah, Dallas and then San Fran.
No, the Cardinals have the Cowboys and Dallas. They're going to get smoked. Oh, last game they have Seattle, so they'll make it. They'll get to the 5-hole.
Okay, I mean it's unlikely.
They're home.
I understand.
They're home.
But...
I think they're going to lose. I think they're going to get smoked on the road. Then again, the Cardinals have been weird all year with playing on the road.
I mean, they gotta get a win somewhere.
Is there any way Hopkins comes back, or is he out for the season?
I think that he's going to try and play in the playoffs, but they're going to rest him.
Oh, jeez. How are they going to win in Dallas without him?
I don't know. Bryce Blackwell, our boys in the house, checking us out on YouTube.
I'll tell you what, you should be rooting for the Cowboys to win that game. Because if they win that game, they may have nothing to play for in week 16 because,
but I want to be careful. Look, if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm 1,000% convinced that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the playoffs. I think they're going to win next week, and that's going to lead to a clinch somehow. What I want to do on Wild Card Weekend is I want to avoid Brady and I want to avoid Rodgers. Anyone else, give me them. I know they'll be underdogs and it'll be a long shot, but at least they'll have.
You think they could beat? You think they could beat the Rams in LA or the Cowboys in Dallas?
I think there's 0% chance you beat Green Bay or Tom Brady.
Okay.
Zero.
5% chance that they win in Dallas and and in LA. I mean, if they had the games at home, I would give them a puncher's chance, but I just don't see it.
Look, and folks, I know people are excited about the Eagles, and we got some people talking about playoff wins and stuff like making a run. Like that's not this year, folks. Look, the poll question on Monday Morning Quarterback was, "Is this season a success?" I think this season's been.
You have to think
a great success.
If they finish 10-7 and make the playoffs, or even 9-8 and make the playoffs, that has to be considered a success because A, you're over 500, so it's legitimate that you made the playoffs, and B, if you make the playoffs, last year you only won 4 games. How much better do you expect to be when you have a season like that? When you have a season like you did last year?
So like
that's
everyone
tremendous to be able to improve like that.
USA Today had the Eagles at 3 wins. Colin Cowherd, Eagles, 4 wins. I think he had them. USA Today, Sports Illustrated.
I had him as 5.
Least, just a dumpster fire of a team for you to be. And everyone in Philadelphia, because the Philadelphia fan base is smart, knew that this was a rebuilding year. But you're going to win 10 games maybe in a rebuilding year? That's a monster success. Let's say disaster strikes and they don't make the playoffs. It's still a huge success. It's still a huge success. You have a quarterback next year, and you 1,000% made the right decision at head coach in Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is a coach of the year candidate right now, as far as I'm concerned. Bryce Blackwell, we got to win. We need San Fran, Minnesota, and Saints to lose. The Saints will take care of their stuff. Vikings play Green Bay, which we've talked about, and San Fran. I don't know who they play next week, but Jimmy G's banged up.
San Fran plays the Texans in San Francisco.
Okay, I mean Houston just stepped up and they bit Herbert, and that Chargers team, who's got a lot of good football players on it.
They have no defense though. But again, you're still looking at a situation where they're going to have to. It's going to take a miracle for them to. That's just not going to happen again. I think San Francisco is not going to. There's no way the Texans are going to win 2 in a row. Although I'll tell you what, as a Giant fan, that would be just wonderful if they did that.
Colin Foley, at least if the Saints win, we get a slightly high draft pick. Stop. You're on the brink of the playoffs. You're on the brink of being in the tournament. Now you're getting in the dance. Now you might stay on the loser wall all night, not talk to or dance to any girls, but you're going to be at the dance. So let's stop talking about the draft. Forget about the draft. Miami Dolphins are going to smoke the Saints.
You're going to be playing meaningful January football.
Like, the Saints aren't winning this game with Ian Book. It's not happening. There's no shot.
No.
I watched a lot of Ian Book in college at Notre Dame.
What's the line, by the way?
It was only 3.
That's it?
Yeah. It was like a 30. It's the lowest over-under I've ever seen. I think it was 36.5 at kickoff.
Yeah, that's probably going to be right on the money, too.
BB Jones, checking us out on YouTube, wishing and hoping, lame-ass fan base. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and assume you're a Cowboys fan because that's something a Cowboys fan would say, and I'm sick of their fans. Look, if you're from Dallas, Texas or wherever, you know, I got an uncle out in New Mexico and there's Cowboys fans there, whatever, that's fine. If you're in New York and you're in Philadelphia, you should not be a Cowboys fan.
No, those fans are all cockroaches.
They're cockroaches.
They're cockroaches that root for the Cowboys. You listen. If
Man,
you're
how
from
can you
Philly,
do that, though?
if you're from Philly, you have an old, proud franchise that's been around for a million years. How do you not root for your home team?
And like,
I know in New York, you've got a proud old franchise like the Giants and the Jets, who've been around. The Giants have been around for 60 years, 70 years. No, what am I saying? The Giants have been around since the 30s. You know, and the Jets have been around, since 1961 or 62, whenever the AFL started. You're going to tell me that you're rooting for the Cowboys? And don't tell me you're a Yankee fan and a Cowboy fan, okay? Because I'll kick you right in the ass. And don't tell me you're a Philly fan,
a lot of
you're
those
a Cowboy fan, okay? Because I'll kick you in the ass too.
Yeah, but you know what I love, Brad, is the L.A. Lakers, Dallas Cowboys, New York Yankees triumvirate fan base. They go 3 for 3 there.
And
like,
whatever
Brad,
team,
if you're a Cowboys fan,
whatever team LeBron happens to be playing for is their favorite team too.
Like, that's fine. You can root for LeBron. I have no problem with that. Like, back when the Sixers were a dumpster fire, losing games on purpose and absolutely disgracing themselves, you remember we were on the air together. I gravitated towards LeBron's teams. But I'm still a Sixers fan. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Sixers are out of it, though. So let me get a dog in the fight, and I back LeBron.
Which is kind of what I do with the Buffalo Bills. You know,
they're a New York team.
They're a New York team. I used to love them when I was a kid because back in the day before O.J. Simpson became the Grinch, he was drafted. They drafted him out of USC, and I do remember they lost the final. They lost the final game, I think, of the season to. I want to say like the Saints or somebody really, really bad. And they ended up 1-13 and the other team went 2-12. Maybe it was the Oilers, the Houston Oilers. And they ended up drafting O.J. Simpson and then they never got him any help.
Harlem Cowboy. What about Philly fans from Dallas and New York fans? Are they fake fans also? Nobody would ever be a Philly fan outside. There's maybe
nobody in New York is a Philly fan. An Eagle fan.
No, we're talking about from Texas. There's no Eagles fans in Texas. There's no reason you would gravitate towards the Philadelphia Eagles if you're from Texas. Look, Harlem Cowboy, you guys need to stop with the fan base. No, I have a show. I have a forum. I'm gonna say whatever.
No, we're gonna beat the crap out of any idiot that grew up and lives in Philly. Listen, if you're from Dallas and you happen to come here because you moved here, okay, that's one thing. If you're from Texas, I got no problem with you. You should be rooting for the Cowboys, or the Texans, or the Tennessee Titans, who used to be the Oilers. Okay, but why would you? I mean, that's like if you live in New York, why would you be a Red Sox fan?
No, it's terrible. Trump 2020. I'm a Cowboys fan from Philly. Like, why? Why are you a Cowboys fan from Philly? People like Trump 2020, and I love him. Because he comes in, he comments on the show, and he creates a stir. Harlem Cowboy the same way, but like if you're a Cowboys fan, like you're just a passionless.
If you're a Cowboy fan, then you should also be a Maverick fan, a Dallas Stars fan, and a Texas Rangers fan.
But Brad, they're just passionless individuals.
But if you're not 4 for 4, get out of my face.
They're just passionless individuals who have no sense of community and no sense of camaraderie. who just they'll flock to whatever the trendy hot thing is, and they're just not people you want in your foxhole. It's plain and simple.
When you
Maybe
were
it's bad parenting. I don't know.
When you were in high school, okay, and your high school was playing football, did you root for the team? Did you root for the high school on the other side of town? Hell no. You rooted for when they played your high school? What kind of stupidity is that? You know, jeez, that stuff drives.
And there's Ian Book being Ian Book. That's a pick 6 for the Miami Dolphins, and this is going to be a long football game for the New Orleans Saints. Trump 2020, he's a Cowboys, Yankees, and Lakers fan. Look, I mean, where's your sense of passion, your camaraderie, your relationship with your community?
Cowboy,
like, come on, bro.
A Cowboy, Lakers,
Yankees.
Oh, come on.
It's weak.
That's pitiful.
Don 19, he's in the house.
Well, we know Don likes all the Detroit teams.
All the Detroit teams.
You can't say anything negative. Listen, you guys might not like me, but I am consistent. I'm a Knick fan. They stink. Giant fan. They stink. Yankees are pretty good. Yep. Rangers looking good if they start the season soon. By the way, I want to make a prediction about the NHL, Rob.
That's good because I got a prediction about the Flyers as well.
No, this is just about the NHL. I'm predicting that the games get canceled until January 1st. That is my prediction. I think that they're going to cancel all the games till January 1st because then they're going to bring it back with the stadium game. And
who's in the stadium game?
You know what? I don't even know. I know that's awful, and I know I'm Mr. Hockey. I don't even know. I haven't been paying attention to that. Ask me a question about the Rangers, anything about them, I'll give you the answer. I don't know about the stadium game. But the Winter Classic is going to be the first game coming back from the NHL. I think that they're going to purposely cancel all these games, which to me isn't such a bad idea, because this way, you know, you have the whole month of February, from February 3rd to February 28th, as an empty slate. So you can get all these games now. You can rest some of these guys, the ones who have COVID, so that you don't have teams playing shorthanded, and at least give them all a week to try to get better, and then start up the season again with that. And then all the empty time you got in February, you can fill in with some games so that hockey fans can watch their teams in February. Because otherwise there's going to be no hockey in February.
And speaking of Detroit, I see that Don 19's Detroit Red Wings are having a decent year, and they're in a wild card position right now.
Not for long.
Stoppage.
I think they have
not
5
for
games.
long, but you know who's 4.
They're playing a lot better though.
You know who's 4 points back of the Red Wings for the last wild card spot in the Eastern Conference?
Who?
The Philadelphia Flyers. And I think the Flyers.
What about the games in hand though? Because Boston.
I don't know that, but I got 4 games. I got 4 points to make up on a team that everybody that knows anything about hockey is telling me that's fake and gonna give it and gonna fall back to the pack.
Yeah, but the Bruins have played like 5 less games than everybody else, and they're only 4 points behind the Red Wings too.
All I'm trying to tell Flyers fans is the season's not over. Keep grinding it out. Keep getting.
Points. They could sneak into the 8th spot. You never know. I mean, especially when the schedule is going to be really weird, and especially in a COVID year, you never know when somebody is going to get sick. You know, I mean, you never know. Now, if you're asking the Flyers to try to come in 4th place in the NHL Metro Division, that's never going to happen. That's almost a guaranteed certainty that that's not going to happen.
Don 19.
Too many good teams.
He thinks his team's going to keep that wild card spot. And
I hope so. Listen, I don't know anybody who wouldn't be rooting for the Red Wings to oust the Bruins from the playoffs. I think the whole league would be rooting for that to happen. Okay,
and so Trump 2020 just revealed that he is a Penguins fan as well on YouTube. So he is a Dallas Cowboys fan. He is a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. He is a Los Angeles Lakers fan, and he is a New York Yankees fan.
Wow, you talk about a fraud.
Like, I mean, come on. Where are you from, Trump 2020? Where's your sense of community, sense of passion, sense of camaraderie? Like,
yeah, I was
come
going to
on.
say, he just picks whoever's the best team, and
He could just be trying to get under our skin as well.
yeah, that's a little. I mean, the Penguins, really? I mean, if he lives in Philly and he's a Penguin fan and a Cowboy fan, I don't know. I mean, I can't stand the Penguins either. So
we're talking NFL, talking playoffs. We're live reacting to Monday Night Football. We're touching on some hockey. We're doing a lot tonight. We got your comments. Don 19. He's a Detroit fan, so he likes the Lions. He's not a bandwagon guy. We know that, Don. You have a sense of camaraderie. You have a sense of passion, and you have,
By the way, I do like what the Tigers.
Not a crumb.
By the way, I do like what, as far as Don's concerned, I think that the Detroit Tigers have done a lot this year in the offseason. I think they're going to be a vastly improved team. So you may have a fun summer. I don't know if they're going to be playoff bound. I don't know if they're quite ready to do that, but I like what they've done. They've been very aggressive in the offseason, and they're finally spending some money again. You may have a little fun in Detroit this year. I think you're going to at least have a winning record.
Troy H., he wants Joel Embiid to recruit Paul George. Hey, who are you giving up for Paul George? How's that working?
Simmons? Boy, I mean,
if I can get Paul George for Ben Simmons, I do it in a second, Brad.
This football game is so ugly.
This is going to be ugly. I mean, Ian Book just went down for a sack. I mean, the Dolphins are pretty good. I mean, they have a huge winning streak for a reason.
Yeah, no, they have a good defense. Of course, if they're going to – if the New Orleans offensive line is just going to let them run in like three guys run in like that, I mean, Book is going to have no chance.
Well, they have their best offensive tackle, Ram Rajchek, or apologize for the pronunciation, but he's out. Like Demario Davis, a really good linebacker for him, he's out with COVID. So this is deeper than just the quarterback position. They're short across the board, and it's showing here in the early going. Don 19, Robin Brad, let me ask you, rank 1 through 4 NFC East fan base most toxic.
Toxic?
Well, the Cowboys are numbers 1 through 4. That's my answer.
Well, I think they're the most disloyal and bullshit fans in the entire NFL. And there is no 1, 2, 3, or 4 as far as that. They are by far. Now, if you're going to ask me who are the most violent and disgusting fans in the NFL, I'm going to give you a little surprise, Rob. It's not Philadelphia. Okay? It's Los Angeles. And that's for all sports. They're awful.
Yeah, they crack people over the head and they put people in coma.
I mean,
they're paralyzed.
They're
terrible.
I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that they do, and I've seen some of the fights they started. I mean, Dodger fans are the worst. I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet with them. They're always starting fights with people. It's unbelievable. But
Eagles fans the most toxic from Trump 2020. I don't agree with that at all. The Eagles fans are passionate. If you stink, they're going to tell you stink. Same with New York and the Northeast quarter. If you stink, they're going to tell you stink. If you're great, they're going to tell you great. I would like to urge the fan base to not boo Jalen Reagor until he messes up, because that's not fair. He's one of ours, You don't boo Jalen Reagor coming out of the tunnel in pregame introductions. That doesn't do anything. Doesn't help anyone. It doesn't. I mean, I'm serious. I was at the game yesterday, and I didn't boo him, but people did. Now, when he drops a screen pass in the early going, I let him have it. I got frustrated. When he messes up a punt return, I get frustrated. And I boo him.
I know a fan base who does that constantly. As much as I hate to say it, my Yankee brethren with their own players, once they don't like you,
you're done. Yeah, you get the bleacher creatures and the whole thing.
You have to. I'll tell you, there's the one player this year for the Yankees that had better get off to a good start, or he's going to just have a horrible, horrible experience in New York, is Joey Gallo. If he gets off to a 160 start in April, if he's hitting 160 in May, I think that guy's going to have a nervous breakdown.
Some guys can't take it. Don 19. So Washington is the least toxic fan base. Yeah, I would say they're the least toxic fan base because they're very they're critical, but they're very happy-go-lucky down there. I feel like
that not their hockey fans.
they always think. I'm talking about the football for the NFC
Oh,
East.
football. Okay. Well, they've been downtrodden for so long. I think that they, I mean, the Giants have had 5 bad years. Washington's has been bad for the most part forever. I mean, it's been a long time since
when
really
Washington. Now, obviously, they have their pocket of diehards there, but generally speaking, like when Washington gets going, like when they got going with RG3 and they were in the playoffs last year, they're in there. They're rooting and they're great, but like when they kind of fall out of it, they kind of fall to the wayside.
Well, with them though, in all fairness, I mean they've been bad. For the most part, they've been bad since Joe Gibbs left. I mean, that's how long it's been. They've really had some bad issues, and now there's a pass interference call on the Saints. This game might be over already.
This game was over when
I mean, if Miami kicks a field goal and gets a 10-0 lead, the game's going to be over.
Who has the most bandwagon fans? The Yankees, Cowboys, or Eagles? Now, when you say that's from Blue City Empire Sports on YouTube. Now, when you say most bandwagon fans,
no, I would say if you're gonna talk about bandwagon fans,
like Yankees fans are critical.
Yankees, you need to change that from Yankees to Mets because that's obviously here's a Met fan because he's already trying to talk crap about the Yankees. Go back to your shitty field, okay, and watch your shitty team spend all that money and suck again.
But like Yankees fans are very critical, very outspoken, and they want to win. I wouldn't call them bandwagon.
We are not bandwagon fans, okay? We're watching every night, okay?
And I would say Philly fans are the same way. Like, yeah, we all get on here. There's do shows here at A2D Radio, and those who have social media accounts, when they stink, we freaking out. We freak out. Passionate people. We want to win. But every summer night at 7:05, we're watching the Phillies. Every cold winter night, we're watching the Flyers and the Sixers, and we watch the Eagles every Sunday, religiously.
And here's what I'm going to say as far as the Met fans are concerned. Why is it that every July, August, and September, Citi Field is empty? Just asking. Why is it always empty? Unless the Mets are actually going to be in the playoffs, that stadium is empty. When you go to a Yankee game, okay, it kind of depends on the weather, but all the tickets are sold. Okay, you can be sure of that. People don't always show up, but almost all those seats are sold. So don't give me this Yankee fans or bandwagon fans. Yankee fans may be spoiled. We may be ultra overcritical. We've got those habits, sure, but you know what? Bandwagon, no. Okay, we were the smallest fan base out of the 3 original New York teams. So, Dodger fans, Giant fans, and then Yankee fans. It used to be a National League city. So as far as that goes, and all the Dodger fans and Giant fans became Met fans, and being that they were all from a whiny, sissy generation of crybabies that always used to lose to the Yankees, it's inbred into the Mets. So there you go.
But Jaylen Waddle, he's an incredible receiver. He's got 4 catches already. He gets targeted all the time. I thought him and Jamar Chase were the 2 best players, all due respect to Devontae Smith, who made some spectacular catches yesterday. Jaylen Waddle is just he's going to be a special player in this in this league. And it helps Tua out a lot. A young quarterback.
Yeah, and looking at this game so far, it just looks to me like if Tua rolls out to his left, he can complete almost every pass. They just put it
there
up.
There it is. They listen to you.
It just seems like every time he goes to his left, he's going to complete the pass because he's got 100 times more arm strength going that way. And he's always been an accurate quarterback as well.
They have a 3rd and 1 coming up, but I mean,
yeah, they'll get it. They're not going to not get it. Yeah, as the Dolphins move into
I think this game's over. 7-0. This game's over.
No, it won't be over until it's 10-0. Once it's 10-0 or 14-0, then it's over. Because the Saints could always score a touchdown by accident. You know, they could return a kickoff, return a punt.
Troy H. Trade Tobias Harris for John Wall. Like, no.
No, you can't do that.
No.
Why would you do that?
No. Like, I don't want John Wall and his $50 million a year contract anywhere near my basketball team. John Wall is damaged goods.
Look at this.
Achilles.
This is what I was talking about, Rob.
That's what they need to win.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to do. I don't know if it's going to count.
But like they needed. My point is they needed to run that back to score in the football game.
Absolutely. That's the kind of thing. Now, I guess the question is, was he down by contact? That ball's coming out.
I don't know about that.
Oh no. You know what? We got to take a look at it again. He wasn't down yet. I can't tell from that angle.
They called it a fumble, so that doesn't bode.
Well, was his knees or elbows ever actually down? His shoulder is down.
Like Troy H., I wouldn't even trade Ben Simmons for John Wall.
No.
That's how anti-John Wall I am.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you trade Ben Simmons for Westbrook?
No. Russell Westbrook is poison. Russell Westbrook is cancer. All Russell Westbrook cares about is his triple-double. Ben Simmons, all he seems to care about is his triple-double as well. You got his agent being a crumb and making a Twitter campaign.
I think Russell Westbrook would be a good pickup for you guys.
Why?
Because I think at this point in his career, I think he wants to win a championship. And being that you got Joel Embiid on the team, I think he would defer a little bit to Joel Embiid and be more of a team player. Because I mean, look, I understand. You know, he's got that he's got LeBron and yada 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 yada. But you know what? With LeBron, all the players are different every year because LeBron wants who he wants and gets rid of who he wants to get rid of. The Sixers, for the most part, are their team is established. It's the same guys that have been around for a while. I think if he went there, he'd learn his place, and I think he would be a very valuable player for you guys. He can score. Just think of all the easy baskets Embiid would get. I mean, he's not Ben Simmons. This guy can.
Brad, he makes Ben Simmons look like Steph Curry on the perimeter.
He can score though. Russell Westbrook. He can score. He can score from almost anywhere in the court.
Look, you're gonna have to. The day of reckoning is coming for Ben Simmons.
The money. They're gonna have to because the NBA makes you doesn't let you salary dump. It's gonna be really hard to trade Ben Simmons. That's the problem. I mean, I honestly, until you told me, I had no idea about that rule. Because I think that's the only league where you can actually
but like you can't you find a third team and then they waive them right away. So like you can.
Yeah, no, I know, but
there's ways around it.
You find a third team though, then you have to start giving up.
Well, the Sixers they're gonna have to find a third team to get a trade that Daryl Morey wants, and that's feasible. They're gonna have to get a third team. Don 19, Rob, how was the game yesterday? Do you grab food at the game? No, I try and avoid. Sometimes I'll buy a beer in there, but I mean, the hot dogs are good at the Link, but they're not worth whatever $15 for a hot dog. I'm out on that. So no, I didn't grab food. And I had a good time at the game. A little hairy in the beginning, but we had a good time. Got the win, and we're on the brink of the playoffs. Blue City Empire. So this one I'll throw at you, Brad. Did you hear the Adam Schefter report that said there's a possibility that John Dorsey might be the GM of the New York Giants?
As long as it's not Abrams.
So you want an outside hire. You don't want someone to step in and.
No, I do not want anybody whose last name is Mara or who's presently working for the Giants running this football team. Dorsey, I'd be fine with Dorsey. Okay. As I said, as long as it's not Abrams.
Bob Brinkman, how about Ben for Toppin? Like, no, you gotta get more than Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin?
For Ben Simmons.
I think the Knicks would make that trade in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no kidding. and then that's the money doesn't
I
work.
listen, and I like Obi Toppin. Don't get me wrong. He's fun to watch. Those dunks are awesome, and when he gets one of those crazy dunks that he does, you can see how it inspires the team and it brings the team a lot of energy. But I mean, he's pretty limited right now as a second-year player and what he can do and what he can't do, and he still needs a lot of work on his game. Ben Simmons is the complete package with the exception of his shooting. He's a defensive stopper, and right now, the way the Knicks have been playing defense this year, they are more inclined to need a defensive stopper. They would do that trade in a country minute.
Troy H. I mean, John Wall becomes a free agent before Tobias, which would free up money. Okay, so what? You're just going to process more and waste Embiid? You can't do that trade. You can't trade Tobias Harris for John Wall.
John Wall is always getting hurt.
He tore his Achilles, and it zapped his first step, which made him a great pro. He's damaged goods.
He's always hurt. There's always something wrong with him.
Look, I hear you. Ben Simmons isn't getting traded. I feel like I say it every week. Ben Simmons is not.
Don't you hate players like that though, Rob? Guys that are always getting hurt when your team takes the risk and brings
it's frustrating.
Because it's if it happened before, it's going to happen again.
Samuel Rowe on YouTube. Simmons is pretty big. Yeah, he's 6'10". I don't know if you mean something else by that comment, but yeah, Ben Simmons is 6'10". He's the best defender in the league. He's the best passer in the league. He can push pace, and he makes his teammates better. It's a star skill set.
He just doesn't shoot enough.
Yeah, and maybe he'll find himself in a situation on the Warriors or the Nets where he doesn't have to shoot. I don't know, but he's not getting traded at the trade deadline. 1,000% not.
The only way he goes to the Nets is if you're getting Harden back. I mean, that's about the only way that's going to happen.
Bob Brinkman, but he can play and Ben can't. His value drops weekly. Yeah, I mean, our GM doesn't care. Daryl Morey doesn't care that Ben Simmons' value keeps dropping. He doesn't care. He's waiting to get a superstar back, or he's not trading him. He's not getting a superstar back, so he's not trading him. So it's going to be up to Doc and Joe and Tobias and Daryl Morey and whoever else to kiss Ben's ass, get him into Philadelphia, so both Ben Simmons can raise his trade value so he can get his ass out of here, and for the Sixers to possibly make an Eastern Conference Finals.
Or a contending team that loses their star point guard.
And someone panics and make it that. I mean, that's what Daryl Morey's hoping for right now.
That's probably the only situation. I'll tell you a team he would do well on that could use a guy like him is Dallas. You put him on Dallas, okay, with Luka and Porzingis.
Well, one of those has got to come here.
Yeah, that's true. That would you? I mean, they're not going to trade Luka, but would you take Porzingis for him?
Porzingis at this point, yes.
Okay, Porzingis can play small forward.
Look, Brad, I just want the saga.
I mean, I know he's 7'2" or 7'3" or something like that, but that guy can shoot from the outside. He has
a skill set. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a real nice skill set. I mean, you can't play him every day because he's another one of these guys that he's injury prone, and you have to make sure that he doesn't get hurt. So you have to make sure he doesn't play back-to-back games. But I think you add him to that front line with Embiid. I think that would be a good fit because he has an outside game. He likes to shoot from outside. And he blocks a hell of a lot of shots too. I mean, can you imagine trying to drive down the lane with those two trees in there?
But Brad, the saga is just exhausting. You understand? With Ben Simmons.
No,
so
I know.
Is Porzingis as good a player as Ben? No, I don't think so. I think Ben's a better player.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think
if I got an offer, if Dallas Mavericks called me up today and said Porzingis for Ben, straight up, take it or leave it, I'm pulling the trigger. I'm getting him out of here. I'm moving on. And then I'm trying to
I
get
think he'd be great playing with Doncic though. I do think that would be a good match for him.
Don, I'm going to get to your football question in 1 second. I'm just going to finish out these basketball. Bryce Blackwell, he hears Ben Simmons to the Cavs, but the Cavs don't have what Morey wants. Morey wants a superstar. He wants a top 20 guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to want Kevin Love because Kevin Love is really the money-wise.
I'll take Kevin Love to make the money work, and you give me Garland. You give me Garland and Kevin Love for Ben Simmons. I'm in.
They might do that.
I'm in.
I could see them doing that. I could see that happening.
And Troy H, I'm not saying that Wall would be our savior, but I think Wall would be a solid fit if we make strategic trades. Plus, Wall could mentor Maxey to become a better playmaker.
Yeah, but
now you want to trade Tobias Harris, then you have Joel Embiid and nothing. It doesn't solve your Ben Simmons problem, right? You're getting John Wall in here. Doesn't solve your Ben Simmons problem. So you're still gonna have Ben on the bench. Then you're gonna have John Wall, Maxey, and Embiid as your big three. No, that doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. And I know Tobias is frustrating because he makes $180 million, but
Listen, he had a hell of a game last night. Or was
he had 23-7, and the Sixers beat the.
Sixers had a quality win last night on the road.
They beat somebody.
I think it was the Cavaliers, wasn't it?
Escapes me right now who they beat because the team just doesn't have my interest.
They beat Washington.
Yeah, the Wizards. Okay, good for them.
No Bradley Beal, but still, I mean, that's a good quality win on the road.
Yeah, good. And Don 19, we sort of touched on it earlier before you tuned in. Out of these four teams, who would you feel comfortable playing in the playoffs? Bucks, Green Bay, Cowboys, or Rams? Look, I'm assuming you're asking me from a Philadelphia Eagles standpoint. The Eagles have 0% chance to beat Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. And they have maybe a 5 or 10% chance to beat the Cowboys or the Rams.
Especially on the road.
They'll be monster dogs against all of them, but 0% chance to beat Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
But you know what? You'd be going in with house money. You shouldn't, and I would hope that the Philly fans wouldn't be putting pressure on them to win this game and sit there saying that to prove something they've got to win. If they played any one of those four teams, okay, if they play a good competitive game, huh?
That's who you're playing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if they can play competitively and not get embarrassed, then it's a success. You know, if they lose, say, 27-14, okay, they go to Tampa Bay, and they lose 27-14, and it was 20-14 in the fourth quarter, and Tampa Bay gets a late touchdown. That's a very respectable game.
I hear you.
I mean, because you have to. I mean, you can't forget what you were last year,
terrible,
where you came from, and
4-11-1 they were
at the beginning of the season, huh?
4-11-1 they were.
Right. I mean, that's major to be able to get to that point. I mean, I think I see you guys being in the same building set as Cincinnati, sort of. Okay. You know, you got yourselves some young players that you like. You've been able to rebuild your offensive line basically in one season, which is really good. Your defense still needs some work, but you know what? It looks like Hurts you can score a lot of points with Hurts as your quarterback if you use him right. And you know, there's
pieces here.
There's pieces there. Yeah, there's pieces there. And Don 19 wants to know if I would trade for Deshaun Watson. First of all, no, not until I know what his legal situation is, because if he goes to jail and I have to give up draft picks for him, that's just silly to do that. The other problem with getting Deshaun Watson is until we fix our offensive line and our defensive line and get the rest of the team to where it should be, there is no point in giving up draft capital for a quarterback. The idea is not to make the playoffs. The idea is to win a championship. And you are not going to win a championship by bringing Deshaun Watson here, giving up your draft picks when we've got crappy wide receivers and no offensive line. Okay, it's just why? Why would you do that? You need to go out, get rid of some of the garbage and deadwood that you have, and there's a lot of garbage and deadwood on this team. There are some good players. I mean, there's not a lot of good players, but there are some really good players who were injured this year who are going to come back and be real good next year. I'm very convinced of that. But at this point, I don't think you have enough. You have enough in the tank to go out and make a trade for a guy like Deshaun Watson, especially when I don't know if he's going to go to jail. Sexual assault is a serious crime. And, we don't know what he did. And do we really want the specter of a guy like that on our team anyway? If we're going to stink and then we have a criminal as our quarterback, just think of how bad that's going to look. At least we have a respectable team. We don't have any criminals or felons or anybody like that on the team. At least we have a respectable group of guys on the team. The one guy that we had that was a criminal, DeAndre Baker, he's gone. And by the way, that's another great draft choice by Gettleman, number 1 pick for DeAndre Baker, who was who goes and robs somebody at a party. Just saying, there's a lot of room. I would rather fix the offensive line first and have a real good defense before I start worrying about getting a quarterback, because you're not going to win anyway. And as I said, it's about winning championships. It's not about making the playoffs and getting annihilated in the first round right now.
Joseph Orkowski, Finn's looking good. If the Eagles and Packers take care of business next week, it's looking like Cowboys and Eagles will play back-to-back Week 18 and Wild Card Weekend. It's extremely possible. And I just laid out. Like, that would be my Cowboys and Rams would be my preferred opponents.
Well, I'm trying to think what the records are. But the Cowboys have 5 losses. The Rams have 5 losses. And Tampa Bay has 4 losses, I guess, and Green Bay has 3. Is that correct?
Sounds right. Oh, I have the playoff picture. I have the playoff picture right here. I think he nailed it though.
Yeah, I don't have it up.
Green Bay's 12-3, and then Dallas, the Rams, and Tampa are all 4-loss teams, and Arizona is a 5-loss team.
Okay, so they're all 4-loss teams. So right now we don't know who's going to be second, third, and fourth. All these teams, they still have to finish playing their games. So, and and there's no guarantee Green Bay's going to win these games.
No, and Arizona, there's no guarantee the Rams win in Baltimore. I think they will, but I don't know. So Arizona, they could be a division champion.
They could, but I think
that's what I would want. That's what I would want. That's the dream scenario. Is that if Arizona jumps up into the 2 or 3 spot and you get to play Arizona on.
Yeah, except the only problem with Arizona is that they have to play the Cowboys next week, and I don't think that they're going to beat the Cowboys.
I mean,
that would be a pretty major upset for that to happen. I mean, I know the Raiders went into Dallas and won, so I mean, obviously it could happen, but it just seems like right now the Cowboys are playing on a very high level, and it's going to be tough. The Cardinals, if they go out and they play as sloppy a game against the Cowboys as they did the Colts, it's going to be really, really ugly.
Don 19. We're gonna get the college football player. We're gonna touch on the college football players. We're gonna do early leans here in a few minutes. So you have to stay tuned to hear my selections for the college football playoff, which is on New Year's Eve, 3:30 for the Bama game, and then I guess Michigan and Georgia will be 7:30, 8 o'clock kind of tip. I don't know. We can beat the Rams, Bryce Blackwell. Yes, the 5 to 10% puncher's chance to beat the Rams, the Cowboys, or the Cardinals on Wild Card Weekend. A 0% chance to beat Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers on Wild Card Weekend. That's just not going to happen. Bill Middlebrook, you'd want Tampa or the Cardinals. It sounds good to say you want Dallas, but that's crazy. Look, I just don't want Rodgers or Brady. I just don't want to play them because I got no chance.
I mean, honestly, it's going to be. It's good. It's going to be very difficult for them.
And like, even though I might get crushed by Dallas, Bill Middlebrook, like they might win, and that would be so sweet to knock those chumps out of the playoffs. So sweet.
Do you really want to play them in the playoffs, though? Because the most likely scenario is that you.
Yeah, because I understand that, but I want the puncher's chance to ruin their season.
Well, you never know.
You know how they act when they're good.
Oh, they're impossible. I know
how they act when they're good.
I know. Oh, I know. I mean, I'm hoping that the Cowboys
for them to be up here on that high horse, thinking they're going to run through Philadelphia at home on Wild Card Weekend. And, Jordan Howard hits him with a $150 and Jalen $150 on the ground, and Jalen Hurts makes a couple plays, and Dallas goes home with their head between the legs. Oh, nothing would make me happier. Absolutely nothing. And you would love that too, and you hate the Eagles.
Well, nobody likes Dallas. Nobody likes to see Dallas win anything, and I would like to see Dallas end up being the number 4 seed, only because that means that they would have to play Green Bay in the next round in Lambeau Field, and they'll get their asses kicked, but good in Green Bay. So,
well, that's fine. Brad, yeah. If I'm an Eagles fan and I'm playing on divisional weekend in the semifinal of the NFC, I'm good. You can get killed. You can I'm
just saying if Dallas comes in 4th, and I'm assuming that they'll beat whoever they play in the first round of the playoffs. But I want them to come in 4th because I want them to have to play a decent team in the first round and not end up getting off playing the Eagles or San Francisco, because I don't think that would pose that much of a challenge in a playoff game at Dallas. That's why I want to see them come in 4th or 5th. Oh, that should be a penalty right there.
Bill Middlebrook, and as an Eagles fan, for the Cardinals to beat Dallas, you need the Cardinals to beat Dallas next week. If they can't get the 1 or 2 seed, I guarantee they sit Dallas and Zeke. Well, only one gets a bye, and chances are Green Bay is going to take care of business and be the 1 seed. Let's take a look and see who the Packers are playing. And I wonder about that, but let's see. I think they have Minnesota and Detroit.
Packers.
It's got to be Detroit.
Yeah, they play Minnesota,
and then Detroit
at home, and then Detroit in Detroit.
So that's 2-0.
Yeah, they're not losing.
Kirk Cousins is incapable of winning a big football game, and Don 19 with respect. If Aaron Rodgers needs that game against Detroit to have the 1 seed, the Packers are getting the 1 seed.
Do they really need Aaron Rodgers to beat Detroit, though?
They might not. Bryce Blackwell, the 2nd seed, gets a home game, though. Yeah. Look, teams, if you win a division, you get a home game. Redskins had, 6 wins last year, and they got a home game against Tampa Bay, who won the Super Bowl because they won the stinky NFC East. So all these teams that win divisions, the 4 division champions in the AFC and NFC, they're going to get home games. So, yeah, Dallas would have a home game. They're going to win the East.
The first 2 seeds would get home field advantage in the second round. But then again, if the 2 seed happens to lose, then the 3 seed would get it. But you want to be the 2 seed because you're going to assume that you're going to win that first round and have that second game at home.
Okay, fair.
I think the 2 seed does matter.
Joseph Krakowski just can't rule out the Eagles laying a stinker next week against the Washington football team. Look, I understand, but the Eagles are going to win the game. It's going to be okay.
Well, keep in mind, you're not gonna get Garrett, whatever the hell his name is, as quarterback. Garrett Gilbert as quarterback. You're going to have to face.
I watched the Washington football team last night.
They looked pitiful.
Just roll over like dogs.
The Eagles kind of did the same thing in Dallas, though. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, but that was in week 2, Brad.
Yeah, but it's still the same. Still the same team. Dallas is still the same team. They don't
look,
have any
you let
major
up
injuries. You don't have
56. I mean,
56.
yeah, I hear you, Bill. I hear you, Bill Middlebrook. The 2 seed would get 2 home games.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I guess it does matter if you're looking past. But if I'm Dallas and I'm the 2 seed, I can't be looking like I don't know. I guess I just can't look past wild card weekend if I'm one of those teams and worry about.
Well, if you're the 2 seed, if you're the 2 seed, okay, and again, if you're the 2 seed or the 3 seed, and you're playing, and you're playing San Francisco or Philadelphia, I wouldn't really be too concerned about those games. If I had to play the Cardinals, I would be concerned as a 4th place team playing the Cardinals, because the Cardinals have had a history of playing better on the road than they have at home, but lately they just haven't been playing well, period. So,
and Bill Middlebrook, if you want Tampa Bay because they're injured, like they're going to have Antonio Brown step right in for Godwin, and Antonio Brown's a better talent than Chris Godwin, so they're not going to miss a beat there. As long as
Antonio Brown has all kinds of incentives right now,
right,
for his contract,
so he's going to behave.
Yeah, so if he plays these last 2 games, he's going to make money. If he makes I think 14 catches, he's going to get an extra $330,000. If he gets 200 yards in the next 2 games, he's going to get another $340,000.
Yeah,
something along those. I can't remember the exact amount. I read the article today, and look, Antonio Brown, he's going to be on his best behavior. He's going to want that second ring. Yeah, he is. He hasn't really lost all that much, so he'll fit right in. And keep in mind is another thing about if the Eagles have to play Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, defensively against the run, is the best team in the league.
Correct.
So that would not bode well. That's not a good matchup for the.
Yep.
I mean, the Eagles, to me, actually might match up better against the Packers than they would against the Bucs, just because the Packers' defense against the run is not very good. And if you watch the Packers against the Browns the other day, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, because that was something that was clear. Chad Carell, you're not going to be that dangerous in the playoffs.
No, they're not. I mean, look, I'm Mr.
No team is going to be afraid of them. Okay, I think every team in the league, every one of those 4 teams is not going to. It just doesn't want to end up playing Arizona in the first round. I think that's why they're all going to try. They're going to want to make sure that they get to play. The 49ers, who are completely one-dimensional, or the Eagles, who they probably feel, and don't forget, these teams that are already going to be in the playoffs, these teams are good defensive teams. You're not playing a team that they can't defend for the most part. I mean,
and just to piggyback on it, Eagles will be dangerous in the playoffs. If the Eagles start the football game on wild card weekend, which I think is inevitable that the Eagles are going to be in the playoffs. If they start against one of those monsters at the top of the NFC, like they did the last 2 games, they're going to be down 21, 24, nothing before they even blink their eyes.
If they get down,
it's game over.
If they get down 10, 17 points in the first half, there's no way they're going to win a game. They're going to win those kind of games. I mean, they are going to have to start better, but give them credit where credit is due. They've won the games they've had to win. Have they been fortunate with their schedule? Yeah. Have they been fortunate that other teams have had a lot of injuries or COVID? Yeah, but you know what? Listen, the Philadelphia Eagle players have followed protocol as far as COVID, and they've been able to stay healthy. And they haven't had too many devastating injuries this year, and that's a credit to them. Whoever their strength and conditioning coach is, they've done a good job. They've kept everybody pretty healthy, and that really means a lot when it comes down to the end of the season and in the playoffs. You're a healthy team. If one of these teams happen to not be healthy going into the playoffs, and you never know. You never know. You don't know until after the last game of the season.
Chad Carroll, he says we beat the Saints. Yeah, but you got to take that in context. Like, look who the Saints quarterback was.
And look
at Trevor Siemian. He stinks.
They also didn't have Kamara either.
So you got to look at all these wins in context. Joseph Orkowski, a little better QB play, more aggressive defense, and a run-heavy offense, and the Eagles would have beaten San Francisco, Chargers, and Giants. Pretty good for a 9-8 team, which could have been 12-5. Impressive for a team. 1-year rebuild. Look, I'm not going to get into if they had this and that, they'd have this many wins. Like, they lost those football games, and that's just the way it is. But if you told me we were going to have a legitimate chance to win 10 football games at the end of this season, I would have said you were crazy. And I feel like I was one of the more optimistic fans, thinking they would go 8-9. And that would be, a real feather in your cap after winning 4 games.
And they most likely will be, again, depending on what Dallas has to play for, and that really kind of depends on what happens against Arizona this week. If they beat Arizona, okay, they're going to play against the Eagles. They're going to want that 2 seed. So, and don't think for a minute that they're not going to want to beat the Eagles. I'm sure that they like the Eagles about as much as the Eagles like Dallas. So I would think that would probably be on both ends. I don't think Dallas is going to not try against the Eagles. I think if you guys think that that's going to happen, I kind of doubt it. I don't think that that's going to happen at all. I would think that they would probably play to win.
And, Joe, that's why they're going to have 3 first-round picks to hopefully get some competent young football players in here that can, A, start and complement those guys, but also step in and replace those guys if like Cox and Kelsey, Lane Johnson, all these guys, like Father Time's undefeated. So, you got to you need 2 starters out of your 3 first-round picks. 2 immediate day one starters.
I think they need to be on the defensive side of the ball as well. I think it would be
and receivers still a black hole. I still don't think they have enough playmakers, but I understand if you wait a little bit in the draft, or maybe you get a free agent receiver. I don't know, because you got money too. Money too.
You do, and there's always. You can always find a free agent receiver.
Don 19. So is Russell Wilson leaving next year? I think he's got 1 foot out the door. We touched on it earlier in the show. I think Denver makes a lot of sense. I think Denver makes a lot of sense there. I think New Orleans makes a lot of sense.
New Orleans does make a lot of sense. The only thing with Denver is, and New Orleans, his wife, I just have a feeling his wife is going to be involved in this. And if his wife is involved in this, I don't know where that could change the whole.
I don't think it's smart for the Eagles or the Giants to trade for Russell Wilson.
No, I agree, especially the Giants. I don't think the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles need to upgrade their quarterback yet. I think if the Eagles were smart, they'd give him 1 more year and see if this guy can become a better, try to coach him up a little bit and make him a useful quarterback. He's not bad. They've scored a lot of points this year.
So if
Russell Wilson, a lot of it is running, but you know what? Give your coach some credit. You guys figured out how to be able to score a lot of points without having a great quarterback. So why make a change now? Leave it alone and try to make the rest of the team better. And you know what? If he's not the answer after next year, then you go out and bring somebody else in. The following season, the following off season, after next season, there's going to be a lot more quarterbacks coming out of college that are top prospects than this year. There's really not a lot of quarterbacks that are top shelf quarterbacks coming out of college this year. The
Steelers, they could be a fit for Russell Wilson as well if he's going to waive his no trade clause.
Right, but again, I think that having
does his wife like Washington? I don't know.
Yeah,
I know.
That's the whole thing. I think his wife is going to be.
Well, his wife is Sierra, who
she
used to be for those who don't know, his wife Sierra. She was a hip hop singer. I haven't seen her release anything in a while, but she might have. I'm a little bit behind in my music game, but she has business in New York. She has affairs in New York, so. The speculation is that she wants to come east So the Giants, the Eagles, the Washington football team, maybe the Steelers would be in on Russell Wilson.
What about New England?
No, I think they're going to be happy with Mac Jones and do that.
Yeah, but can they win a Super Bowl if they get Russell Wilson?
My opinion would be a Super Bowl. I mean, they would be closer.
You know, I mean, they might. I mean,
yeah, because they have a good O-line, and if Belichick's there, they'll have a good defense.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you get him, and then you know they got Jacoby Myers looks like a big time receiver. I mean, they've got some guys on that team. You know, they can definitely run the ball. That's for sure. I mean, they're a good running team as well. I mean, you know, you add him to the mix. I mean, listen, I saw what I saw in Mac Jones yesterday and against the Colts. Made me think twice about him because the last 2 games he was not good.
Bill Middlebrook, if the Steelers don't get Wilson, he thinks he's going to the Giants. I just don't think that's smart for the Giants.
What are the Giants going to have? But what are the Giants going to have to give up? Because the Giants right now, cap-wise, are not really in a position where they can go out and get him.
Look at what Seattle gave up to get Jamal Adams, who's a safety.
2 first-round picks.
Russell Wilson, albeit 32, 33 years old, is not only a franchise quarterback, but an elite quarterback in this league. So you're talking –
Rob, I got to tell you, I mean, now, do you think he's still playing? Do you think his finger was bothering him yesterday?
Brad, did you see the game? The Seattle Seahawks stink.
I know,
but stink, and it was snowing.
His throws were terrible.
It was snowing.
Well, how come
and he's got a bad finger.
But how come Nick Foles had no problem throwing the ball?
He's a freak. I don't know. Nick Foles, he's a freak. I don't know. I guess.
Nick Foles threw the ball great yesterday, and Russell Wilson was terrible yesterday. I'm telling you, he had receivers open all over the place yesterday, and all he was doing was overthrowing, underthrowing. I mean, listen, if his finger is still bad, if his finger is that injured, then okay, that would be a good excuse. But boy, oh boy, he's looked just terrible.
All right, we got about 15 minutes left here. No flight zone tonight. So if you missed Monday Morning Quarterback with Ryan Brodo and Tom Arnone, Jimmy, from the flight zone, he joined them. So you download it in podcast form, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Takeover Talk. Check out that there instead of listening to the flight zone in the 9:30 to 11 slot here on A2D Radio. I'm sure they'll be back next week. Let's do some early leans, Brad. We got the college football playoff coming up on Friday afternoon. So we're going to include that in early leans as well because I feel pretty good about both these games. Cincinnati and Alabama. That's the first game. That's going to be at 3:30. Alabama's a 13.5
going to smoke them.
I mean, Cincinnati's a great story, and I'm glad they got in, and maybe they can stick with them for a half. But the cream's going to rise to the top in that game.
Yeah, but if Cincinnati was in the SEC, how many losses would they have? 3, 4?
It's a good point.
You know, I mean, they're an average. Listen, and I know I'm going to piss off some people, but
I think they're a little better than average.
If they were in the SEC, they'd be an average football team. They'd be right in the middle. Okay, I mean, look. Bottom line is they've had a great season, but they don't play in the Big Ten. They don't play in the SEC, and I think they're going to get crushed. I think it's going to be a really ugly 41-14 type game for Alabama. I think they win the game easily.
Joe Rossi says Bama by 27.5. What's the spread? The spread is 13.5, so you're giving up less than 2 touchdowns. I'm all over Bama. I think Bama wins the national championship as well. You get to the nightcap, 7:30 kickoff, give or take. Georgia playing Michigan. Brad, I'm liking Michigan. They're plus.
Yeah, I am too. You know, I was thinking about that for a while today. And I'll tell you what, Michigan has that it factor. They finally got over the hump with Ohio State, and they're playing their best ball of the season. Georgia had a bad, in my opinion, a bad loss
They don't have a quarterback.
against Alabama. Yeah, their offense is not great. Michigan has a very good defense. I think Michigan wins this game. I think it's going to be close because Georgia does have a great defense. I mean, you got to give them that. I could see probably in the area like 21-17, something like that, 24-21.
Yeah, I mean, I got Michigan here getting 7.5. I like that. Michigan's plus 240 on the money line. I'll probably sprinkle a little bit on that. And then
Michigan physically can stand up to them.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Big Ten teams do not get enough respect as far as physicality. They're all the only team that is overrated in the Big Ten, as far as I'm concerned, every year is Wisconsin. I think they're the most overrated program in the history of football because they're always, everybody always talks about how great that team is, but when do you ever see them?
They are what they are.
Yeah,
they're like 8-4, 9-3 every year.
Yeah, but everybody makes like Wisconsin. Sorry, yeah. I don't see it.
So we're on Bama minus 13.5. And then Georgia, I like it across the board. I like plus 7.5 Michigan. I like Michigan on the money line.
The game outright. I think they're going to win the game outright. I think it's going to be a field goal kind of game. It's going to be a low scoring game. As long as Michigan doesn't turn the ball over, I think they're going to win the game.
Yeah, and then you're plus 240, so you're getting almost 2.5 to 1 on your money, on the money line. Yeah, so I like it all the way around, and then I like over 45. I think there might be a little more points than people expect in that game for some reason, but that's total speculation and a hunch. The over under, that the two good defenses, and anything can happen with that. But Michigan, Bama, and then I like Bama to win the.
I think Bama finds a way to beat Michigan, but I do think Michigan goes to the championship game. I just feel like they finally got the monkey off their back.
Yeah, I love what you said about the it factor because you beat Ohio State finally, and Jim Harbaugh.
And you didn't just beat him; you thumped him.
They thumped them. They ran it all over them. They just bullied them up and down the field. So good for them. And then Jim Harbaugh against the SEC. Jim Harbaugh against the SEC, it's a blowout city every time he's faced an SEC opponent at Michigan. So I think maybe he gets that monkey off his back too. And then he can't get the Bama. He's not going to be able to beat Bama. Bama's just too good. Young's just too good. So, I mean, I like Bama to win it all. You move to the NFL.
I would agree about Bama as well.
Let's get to the NFL here in our last couple minutes here. So we got what? We got no primetime games this week?
No Thursday night game.
We got no Thursday game. But we got 2. I thought we had 2 on Saturday. Or is that next week?
I thought we had 2 on Saturday. I thought we did have 2 on Saturday this week.
Unless they're hidden. We'll just go down the slate. These are all January 2nd games. The Eagles are heading down to Washington. The Eagles are laying 4. So they're 4-point road favorites.
Yeah, I got to give the Eagles the edge.
I mean, look, Washington, they quit like dogs last night against Dallas.
Yeah, I think Washington might be spent. And the Eagles still have a lot to play. The Eagles have everything to play for. You know, they have a chance to probably clinch a playoff spot next week. I think they're going to come out flying and they're going to win the game. And they're going to win pretty convincingly. I can't see Washington winning the game or even keeping up with them. I think it's going to be probably a 10-point game.
Big one in the AFC. The Chiefs travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Chiefs are favored by 5.5 going into Cincinnati. There's Tommy Arnone. He loves Michigan.
You know what? I'm going to take the Bengals and the points.
I agree with you. 5.5-point home dog.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Did they win by 21 against the Ravens, or did the Ravens make it interesting?
No, it was 41-21.
And then the Chiefs won by 21, right? 21 gun salute in effect.
Yeah, 36-10.
So yeah, I like the Bengals plus the points. Joe Hurrah, thank you, Joe. 15 Sunday games and 1 Monday Night Football game. So I guess we got 2 on Saturday for the final week. which will obviously be flex for playoff positioning. Tampa Bay travels to New York to take on the Jets. I'll gladly lay the 13.
Yeah, that'll be an easy one for Tampa Bay.
Rams travel to Baltimore. Baltimore is a 3.5-point home dog. I just don't think Baltimore has it this year. And I think the Rams are playing well.
Baltimore's just too banged up. I'll tell you what, if it's 3.5, though, I would take the Ravens with the 3.5.
You can have your 3.5. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, if it's 3.5, if it's 3 even, then I would take the Rams. I think that field goal could matter.
Atlanta travels to Buffalo. Buffalo's a 14.5-point favorite. That's too many.
Yeah.
That's too many for me. I do think Buffalo wins. I'm rooting for Buffalo to win. I love Josh Allen. He played so well in Foxborough. Just an amazing performance.
Buffalo should beat them, but I mean, they really should cover that spread. I just don't. 14.5 points. I just have I have a law about giving up that many points. I don't like to.
I mean, Atlanta's not tragic. They're not good, but they're not the Jaguars.
No, but I mean, if you take a look at what they did their last road game against San Francisco, they got absolutely hammered, and they barely beat Detroit. So then now they have to go to Buffalo, and Buffalo is looking to put this division away. I mean,
Joseph Orkovsky, he's got a great point. You can't bet a large spreads in a game in Buffalo with that winter weather. Great point.
Yep. Yeah, you don't really know that either. I wouldn't touch the game. But I do think Buffalo is going to win by more than 14 points.
Speaking of the stinky Jaguars, they're traveling to Foxborough. New England's favored by 15.5. I think the Jaguars get shut out and New England covers.
Yeah, I think New England is their 2-game losing streak. They're going to take their hostilities out on the Jaguars, and it could be like 40-0. I could see that.
The Las Vegas Raiders travel to Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis wins the game, but Brad, the spread is 7.5. I'll take the 7.5.
Well, the Raiders are a screwy team, Rob.
They are. They could come out and they could put up 40, or they could give up 40, and you just don't know.
They're a screwy team. I remember when they got 10.5 against the Chiefs, and then they got absolutely
smoked. Yeah.
And then I remember it was the same kind of spread against the Cowboys, and then they went to Dallas and they beat them on Thanksgiving. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a game I would stay away from. But if I had to bet the game, I wouldn't bet on the Raiders. That's for sure.
Giants and Bears.
Who cares?
We'll just
I take the Bears.
Broncos, Chargers.
Chargers are going to kill.
That would be extremely disappointing if the Chargers somehow missed the AFC playoffs. With that quarterback, that would be not good.
The NFL is not going to be happy if the Chargers aren't in the playoffs.
I agree with that.
Because they have a new golden boy in Justin Herbert, and they're going to want him in the playoffs. So somehow, some way, if the Chargers don't have their way, they're going to get their way, whether it's the officials or whatever. They're going to find a way to play. Now, where is that game in?
It's in Los Angeles. Chargers are home.
Chargers are going to romp.
The Cardinals, they visit the Cowboys, 5.5. Dallas favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I think Dallas is going to kill them.
Yeah, I'm so off of Kyler Murray just doesn't have it. Cliff Kingsbury definitely doesn't have it, and they were so undisciplined on Christmas night. I mean, it would have been easy for the Colts not to be ready for that game. They got COVID. It's Christmas. They got to travel out west, and they came out and they put a thumping on Arizona. Arizona, they weren't ready to go.
No, they have. I think they're 4-5 since they got Ertz, right?
Yeah, they did this. They did this last year in December. They folded up.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll end up in the playoffs because
they're clinched. They've clinched a playoff berth.
Okay, so they'll be in the playoffs, but they're probably going to be.
But remember, they had to beat whoever the Rams back. His name escapes me, but they were playing the Rams, and Goff was out, so they were playing a backup, and they lost. Eliminated themselves. Come on. Kyler Murray's first pick. potential generational talent. Like you got to be.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm off Arizona, and I was really liking Arizona too.
I think the way Dallas is, although the 21 gun salute there is in effect, but you know what? The Cowboys are playing at home, and I the way the Cowboys are playing right now, I think that's going to be a real tough spot for Arizona. They're walking into a Hornets.
And 2 more games here: Detroit and Seattle. I don't care.
I hope Detroit beats them.
Give me the Lions +7.
Yep. I would take the Lions. The Lions have been playing a lot better in the second half of the season.
Minnesota travels to Green Bay. Green Bay is -6. I like the Packers -6.
Yep, I would agree. And it's too bad for Minnesota, but you know, with the playoffs on the line, and they have to go and they have to try to beat Green Bay and the Rams.
Next Monday night, January 3rd. The Browns will travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Steelers are a 3-point home dog. Boy, I think
Steelers are dogs at home.
Yeah, rare.
I would take the Steelers in the 3 points.
Sure.
Not that it matters. Both those teams are not going to be in the playoffs. So
Joseph Fracassi, nobody beating Rasul Douglas in that Packers defense right now. I mean, the Browns could have if they ran the ball more. You know?
Listen, if the Browns didn't get robbed, they would have won that game.
Look, I mean, I know it was a pass interference call that was missed at the end, but Baker Mayfield at the end of the day threw 4 interceptions. You can't turn the ball over 4 times in Lambeau Field and win the football game.
He he turned the ball over 3 times, and then the pass interference was what caused the 4th interception.
Okay, so, but the Packers are what, 12-3? We just went over it.
Yeah, no,
you're not beating the 12-3 team on the road turning the ball over that much. It's just not going to happen.
Nope, you're right about that. Browns defense did a pretty good job, though. They did keep Green Bay, they did keep Green Bay off the scoreboard for a good majority of that game. I mean, they only gave up 24 points. The way Green Bay's been scoring lately, that's a very good job.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of Sports Hounds. Thank you, everyone who liked our show, subscribed to our show, shared our show, commented on our show. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Thank you to all our great sponsors here at A2D Radio. Keep it locked in as the playoffs unfold right here on A2D Radio. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.